Welcome to practice. The name of today's class is called Set Your Intention. And this is a follow-up class to some of the other classes we've been doing recently that have had us breathing a little bit better and have had us paying attention to what's going on in a more refined way. And so now I think we're ready to take that attention and direct it somewhere, to focus it on something. And that is what an intention is. So you are welcome to choose any intention that resonates with you. The intention that we'll be using in our practice and that I'll be using myself is the intention of non-harming, non-violence. And we're gonna look at what that means in a physical movement practice. In other words, if I were to move in a way that is non-harming to myself, what would that movement be like? And then we're going to see if we can set that intention in this yoga practice in such a way that it bleeds into other areas of our lives. Let's go. So let's go ahead and come all the way down onto our backs. If you have a yoga block at home, go ahead and grab that. If not, you don't need anything. So when you come down onto your back, take any time that feels good to you to roll around, move away in any way that feels good. Take this time to start breathing in and out through your nose, nice and low in your belly. And flush your whole body with attention, like light filling a room. See here if there's a little bit of element of non-harming to this, because this even is us figuring out what non-harming means. And let's try to set ourselves here so that we feel as best as we possibly can. Now, if you have that yoga block, go ahead and place it the thinnest way, right up high towards the pelvis. This is going to give your inner thighs something to press into so that they can learn how to be good supporters. So root down through the feet and scoop your pelvis off the ground for a low bridge pose. Breathe steadily here, deep and low into the belly, and flush your whole body with attention. Now, in movement, us being non-harming means that we're using muscles close to bones in order to move them, that we're going, let's say, slow enough to begin with that we can really understand what's going on as we're doing it. Let's go ahead and lower the pelvis back down to the ground for a moment. You can do anything you like that feels good here. And our muscles have jobs to do. They have two major jobs. One job is to contract, to do work for us. The other job is to relax and to let that work go. So let's see if we can identify what job is what for which muscles here. As you lift the pelvis up off the ground, squeezing the butt. So you're getting muscles close to the pelvis to lift the pelvis. You're making sure that the low back feels nice and spacious. Now, if you feel okay from here, we want to root the belly in and down towards the floor as we reach the arms up towards the sky. Get a little bit of freedom in your armpits, and then we'll squeeze the fists into little tiny balls, really squeeze and use all of the muscles of the forearms, and then stretch the fingers way, way out, but really way, way out, so you can feel a stretch in between each finger. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze all the way in and stretch all the way out. And then go ahead and flex the fingernails down towards the face. Use the left hand and grab the right fingers and pull down. So you're stretching out the wrist flexors, the soft side of the forearm. And then do the same thing on the other side. So here we're being good partners to our wrists. We're preparing them for weight bearing here. Let's go ahead and release and relax. Let everything float back down to the floor. Now from here, we're going to see if we can take the knees up over the pelvis. You can keep holding on to that block. In the same way you feel the legs holding in on the block, feel your abdomen knit in towards itself and towards the floor. Now from here, we're going to lengthen the arms back up where they were. We want to feel the shoulder blades on the ground. We want to feel the front ribs heavy to the floor. So watch for the poof, because there's going to be that tendency to poof. So pull everything down. Now we want to just move in the arms and shoulders. So keep your breathing steady as you begin to reach the arms toward a more overhead position. But stop whenever your ribs or your belly starts to poof. And then we'll go ahead and bring the arms all the way back up and holding it at the belly all the way back. If you get to a place where you feel like something's, let's keep going. Let's take 5 total. And if you get to a place where you feel like something is overworking, like something in the back of the neck, something in the shoulders, if anything ever feels like it's overworking, it's like, how can I be a better partner to myself? Okay, so from here, let's go ahead and release and relax that all the way down to the floor. Feel your belly. If it was shaking a lot, you just did a really good work there. So release the breath. And it's good. Sometimes these sensations are new and strange and powerful, but they're not necessarily bad. And sometimes it's good to have these sensations because our muscles are capable. We want to remind them that they're capable. So let's go ahead and take the knees up over the pelvis again. Let's take the arms up. And now this time we're going to hold the arm side. So we're going to hold down in the belly, make sure the back of the neck feels nice and long, not stretched. And now we're going to start to reach the heels toward the floor in front of us. Maybe they go an inch, maybe they go all the way down. Then we're going to bring them right back up. Now we're looking to make this movement happen. Let's take 5 of these. In the hip. So we want to keep the low belly really working, really pulling everything down to the floor. And if you feel too much in any place at any time, you've gone too far. Alrighty here. Let's go ahead and release and relax that down. If it felt like you woke up new things that haven't been woken up for a while or forever, wonderful job. And now let's keep the feet pressing and tracking down and forward. Let's use the abdominals instead of to hold something still. Let's use the abdominals to move something. So interlock the hands behind the head with the elbows in. Actually pick your head up with your hands, stretch it back so you get a little stretch through the back of the head here. And now from here, press your feet down and forward, keep your belly grounding down to the floor, and imagine that your belly is going to ground down in order for your chest to lift up off the mat. And feel a follow through from your tailbone all the way out through your crown. It's like a big banana shape. Imagine that little banana with your spine from your tailbone all the way out through the crown. And come back down. And then imagine again, feet pressing down and forward. Your belly is pulling down in order for your chest to lift up. And really let the neck be soft. And then come on down. And one last time, press your feet down and forward. Lift up off the shoulder blades using the abdomen. Alrighty, come all the way back down. Hopefully we feel like we woke up the belly there a little bit. Did you do some good belly stuff? He's a little jumpy. Okay, come on up. We can move the block for now. I'm actually going to put it in front of you if you don't mind. And when we come forward onto tabletop, take any time that you like to move around in a way that feels good to you. That it's just your time to feel every part of your body. Any part that feels like it was a little forgotten or it's a little confusing. So that now you're ready with a clear focus to come into the next bit. Let's stretch the fingers wide on the mat and have the wrists underneath the shoulders. And just move around over the wrists a little bit so you can feel the chest open. And that is kind of a tricky thing to experience, but just see if you can get a little sense of that. And then from here, we're going to practice laying the forearms down, but we're going to practice a wrapping of the upper arm muscles so they get used to what their job is supposed to be in weight bearing. So here their job is to squeeze toward each other as they layer down to the floor, and then to keep a sense of that as they straighten back up over the wrists. So feel all of the muscles in your upper arm work to wrap the elbows toward each other. And see if as you lift and lower, you can lift and lower a stable spine. So your spine doesn't have to do a lot of movement. Your ribs don't have to do a ton of movement in order to get the elbows up and down. Okay, and so the next time that we layer the elbows down, decide if you're comfortable here or if it would be better to interlock the hands. And then tip up off the knees with a relaxed head. Really keep the knees bent and the breath flowing into the lower belly. You can step the feet any amount apart. They can be any amount towards or away from the elbows. But just kind of start shifting around here, weight shifting forward and backward, introducing the arms to weight bearing, the shoulders to weight bearing. And when it gets to be too much, come out of it. Go ahead and come on down to the knees there. Come back up to the hands. Check in with your face. So during that time, did you grit your teeth or your tongue? See if there can be some relaxation there. So you're getting used to doing intense things in a calm way, which feels so amazing. Grip the floor with the hands. Tip up off the knees for our first downward facing dog. Feel the arms connect into the torso, like they have roots into the chest, roots in the armpits, roots in your shoulder blades. And the roots are muscles that are holding, turning on. See if you can keep a sense of that as you push off one hand at a time. Bend the knees and see if you can get all the weight in your feet with released hands. Drape over the legs if that's too much. Drape over something like your elbows or your arms on another chair. Make sure that you're working evenly in your ankles, your knees, your pelvis, your hips, so that your low back doesn't feel tense. And if something's feeling tense or overly worked here, see what could be changed, what could be modified on your end. Ground through the heels, slowly come all the way up, feel your tailbone grounding down to get you to lift. And follow that action with the fingers reaching. Soften the hands down in front of the chest. Feel a standing pose here. Just see how you feel. Maybe rock around a little bit. Do anything that's calling for you. Moving your neck or your arms or just anything that feels right. Settling the breath. When you're ready from here, reaching the arms all the way up to the sky. And then softness in the knees here. Hinge forward at the hips, trying to keep the spine nice and long as you come over the legs. Let's walk ourselves forward back to downward facing dog. See if we can just find that pose where the hands are gripping and the arms are strong. They're doing their work, so they're good supporters for the back. And now shifting the shoulders forward and the knees down for tabletop position. Okay, in tabletop position, let's start moving through the shoulder blades. So keep your chin kind of tucked into your throat and kind of hold that position And then soften the shoulder blades together. Keep the elbows nice and straight. So you want the arms to be strong posts. Now feel you push into the hands and spread the shoulder blades away, getting a little bit more space, and start moving back and forth. Shoulder blades together and away. And so it's like a baby cat-cow. Now see if you can get certain muscles to do it. So muscles between the shoulder blades, squeeze them together. Muscles wrapping around the shoulder blades under the armpits, pull them apart. And so just seeing if you can get the brain to map those areas of the upper back. Okay, there is a neutral position for these shoulder blades on our back where they feel like they're just slightly held together. Now see if we can get a sense of that. They're slightly held together. Pull your belly up so your pelvis becomes like a tray. We could put a cup of coffee on it, and step the feet back one at a time for plank. Make sure your plank is as long as it is when you're standing, and if you really feel this in your arms, you're doing it right. Let's tap the knees down to the floor. And then see here if we can move the spine as one shape all the way down, keeping the shoulders lifted. Releasing and relaxing here. Get off the hands for a moment. Maybe lay them flat or anything that feels good. As we feel ready from here, we'll slide the hands back underneath the elbows. Roll the shoulders up. And really compact the front of your body so that your back body feels long. And then see if you can hover the hands up off the floor. Keeping the back body super long, breathing nice and steady. Start to roll one shoulder at a time. And as you do this, keep the chin tucked into the throat. As you're moving the shoulders, don't release the front body. The front body is still compacting, lifting up towards the back body. As we feel ready from here, hands down, find the chin in a comfortable position and stay this strong in your chest as you press back up. Tuck the toes here, lift the knees, shift the pelvis up and back, downward facing. Taking a few steady breaths here. And as you feel ready, pushing off one hand at a time to walk all the way back to the feet. Front body's really curling into itself so that the back body can become more spacious. So you're really opening up all of that. Ground down through the feet. Curl your tailbone down to the floor to initiate a roll all the way up to stand there. Reaching the arms all the way on up. Soften the hands all the way down here. And one more time, reach them all the way back up. See if you can get your arms to reach overhead in a way that's supportive of your neck. So maybe move the chin around here a little bit. You want to feel the front of the body compact into the back of the body. The big tendency here is this kind of thing, and that's not going to be very comfortable for you. So to be a good partner to yourself, get your torso in, and if your arms need to be more forward, let them be forward. And then we'll see if we can stretch the shoulder blades away towards the fingers, and then squeeze them back down the back. And reach them out toward the finger, and squeeze them down the back. And try to hold the rest of the body nice and still here. So you're just moving our sweet little shoulder blades. And then after this last one, reach everything on up. As you feel ready, soften the hands down. See how your neck feels here. If you want to do a little chin rotation to the left and right, you can do something like that. And as you feel ready, reaching the arms wide and high. Softening at the knees first, then the hips. Take a nice long spine all the way down. Releasing, walking ourselves forward to downward facing dog. Trying to get a sense of that position here. And then shifting knees forward to the floor, shoulders forward. Find tabletop position. See if you can find your spine so it's nice and long. The back of your head, your shoulder blades, and the back of your pelvis all lift up into an imaginary ceiling. And then from here, soften the shoulder blades together using the muscles between them, and then use your armpit muscles and below your armpit to pull the shoulder blades away. Just doing that a couple of times here, trying to get your arms to be nice, strong, stable pulls. Now see if you could find what would be a neutral position. It's going to feel like the shoulder blades are just ever so slightly coming together, but feel all of the muscles on the back, hold them there. Your head feels like it's a little bit more lifted. And now step the feet back, plank. So your body's at a diagonal, but it's in a nice long line. If you feel this in your arms a lot, you're doing it. Tap the knees down, move down to the floor, bend the elbows, keep the shoulders lifted as we come all the way down to the floor. Once you come all the way down here, let's release the hands back with the pinkies up. Let's get the legs on a little bit. So really compact the front body. Lift your right foot and knee. Really turning on the engine of the hamstrings and the calves back there. Take that leg down, left foot and knee go up. Move the leg, not the pelvis, as you alternate, lifting and lifting. And at the top of the range, let there be a little bit of a pause where you teach those muscles what their job is. So when you get to the top of the range, squeeze, contract the muscles even more to get the tiniest bit more lift. And you should feel the muscles actually kind of shake in that range a little bit, as long as it's feeling good for the torso. So go ahead, release the legs, hands down underneath the armpits, grip the floor, chest nice and open as we push up to the knees. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, shift up and back, down dog. Now let's see how it might feel if we walked the feet forward to the hands here. So shifting forward. If you lose space, you can always lift your hands at some point. Otherwise, you're just trying to keep your hands down as much as you can. Ground down through the knees. Slowly come all the way on up to stand here. Reach the arms all the way on up. Soften the hands down in front of the chest. One more time, reaching the arms up. And this time, we'll take cactus with our fists. So open through the chest here, but not through these front ribs. So your front ribs knit together and back towards the back. And then from here, see if you can rotate the shoulders, bringing the fists down. Moving like this, trying to keep the chest open, the spine in alignment. And if you feel different muscles working to hold your spine in place, muscles along your back or your side or your belly, welcome to all these new sensations. Breathe. As we feel ready from here, bend the elbows in by the side, release the fists, let the hands sprinkle down. Go ahead, soften the knees as you reach all the way on up to the sky. And then hinge forward at the hips. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Keep the right foot here. See if you can stand on that right foot without the pelvis doing a lot of swaying about. Step the left foot back, tap the knee down, and we'll come up to a low lunge here. Let's use our hands to assist us. So take them to the pelvis where it might be all kind of cockeyed here. It might be kind of going out to the side. So feel your two frontal hip bones and try to negotiate them so that they line up with the center of each thigh bone. And your mind's eye will have to track the thighs in two different directions. And now from here, see if you can set the pelvis in a way where all of the muscles around it are supporting it. And then lift up through the ribs. And if you want to change the arm position, maybe reach up. See if you can just breathe here. Okay, from here, we're gonna reach the arms forward to something, to the floor, to yoga blocks, maybe forward to an ottoman. We're gonna lift the back knee up off the ground and bend the front knee and lift the front toes up for a little bit of a runner's stretch. So we can kind of bounce a little bit here, actually, forward and backward, feeling the legs rooting into the hips, feeling the torso get nice and stable together. And then from here, we'll walk the hands forward and lift the back leg for a standing split. So now we're loading one leg here. And again, do something with the floor. Lift it up to you using blocks, using some furniture, but just to get that standing leg to understand what it's like to support you. Bend the knee, walk yourself back, come back into that little runner stretch. So now we're opening up that area we were just using. Go ahead, ground the forefoot, walk yourself forward, lift the back leg, standing split, not too long here, don't freak out. One more time, walk yourself back, rock up onto the heel, pulse a few times. Okay, here we go. Walk yourself forward, lift the back leg. It can be bent any amount. So don't think it has to be huge movements here, but make sure you're back into that hip. When you're ready, take your left foot right by your right foot there. Anything you like that feels good. If you want to hang out down here longer, you can. If you're ready to come up, slowly come all the way on up to stand. Reach wide and high through the arms. Okay, soften the hands down. See how you feel there, especially if you're a little bit tighter. That sequence is going to feel a little intense. Was that intense? Okay. As we feel ready, reach the arms all the way on up. Hinge forward over the legs. Hands down, we'll move the feet back, and now we'll see if we can find that high plank that we found from tabletop, but see if you can land there on your own. Tap the knees down, bend the elbows, keep the spine moving in that same shape all the way down. Release down here, maybe stack the hands, drop the forehead, bend the knees, and swipe the ceiling a little bit left to right. Moving the legs and the hips and the low back. As we feel ready, lengthen the legs back. Take the hands underneath the armpits with the chest rolled. Keep yourself nice and strong. Push up to the knees. As you feel ready, lift the knees. Send the pelvis up and back, downward facing dog. Okay, let's see if we can begin to walk ourselves forward towards the hands. Once you make your way up there, bend the knees, root the tailbone down to slowly come all the way on up to stand, reaching the arms all the way up. Soften the hands down in front of the chest. As you feel ready, reach the arms back up. Softly hinge from the hips, keep the spine nice and long. See if you can get the hands down onto something, onto the floor, blocks, some furniture, and lift the right foot up off the ground without altering the pelvis. Step the right foot back, tap the knee down to the ground, and come on up for a low lunge. So you can use the hands to assist here. They find the pelvis, they try to position it evenly over both legs. Once it feels like you got a little bit of that, if you have a mirror, you can use that for feedback as well. Lift, see if it feels okay to reach through the arms. As we feel ready from here, we're gonna reach the arms forward and down, lift the back knee, pulse back a little bit so both knees can be bent. You can even lift up and rock onto the left heel if that feels okay for you. And then as we feel ready, we're gonna begin to weight the left foot, unweight the right foot, walk forward, standing splits, where you're trying to negotiate the pelvis evenly set, both hip bones facing the floor, and you feel that standing leg work evenly on the inseam and outseam. Here we go, bend Come back, standing splits, maybe pulsing a little bit here. So you're stretching what you just worked. But now you're going to work it again. So walking forward, taking the hands down, lengthening out through the chest, working that standing leg. Walking ourselves back. Here we go. Last one. Walking ourselves forward, lifting up. As we feel ready from here, release the right foot underneath the body. See how you feel here. As you feel ready to come all the way on up to stand, here we go. Taking the hands down. One more time, reaching the arms all the way up and coming forward over the pelvis. Ground the hands, walk the feet back one at a time, plank pose. See if you can find that position. Tap the knees down, bend the elbows. As we feel ready from here, tent the fingers underneath the armpits or a little bit wider. Elbows up, push down, flow off the ground any amount. Really pulling the front of the body up with you. So you don't want to feel any piece of the front of the body push forward. You want to recruit all of that. And you want chest nice and open. So really squeezing the floor and rooting the elbows back will help position the shoulders in a really nice way. Let's take the hands underneath the shoulders here. We're going to press up to tabletop position, walking the knees forward a little bit. So we're in a shorter tabletop position. Point the toes straight back and see if it would be appropriate to lift the knees up, load the front of the feet a little bit, stretch them out. Tap the knees back down, lift the knees up. Doing that a couple of times. When you're ready to roll over them, downward facing dog, we can meet there. Now let's use them the other way here. So really stretch the heel bone away from the toes and down towards the floor. So the sole of the foot feels like it's being stretched. Can you lift your toes up off the ground and feel like the skin on the top of your foot is lifting towards your shin bone? Now keep a sense of that as you take the knees down to the floor. And we're going to load those stretched toes. So we'll start to walk back. If you can manage to sit upright on the toes, you can do that. And you can actually use your hands to pull the pinky toe more underneath, which will ensure that the outer lining of the foot gets a little bit more stretch. Now see if you can sit up tall here so you're using the legs to press down as you sit up and breathe. And you soften through the jaw, through the tongue, through the forehead. Let's hinge forward. Point the toes again. Lift the knees, load the front of the feet. Tap that down. Lift the knees. Tap that down. Last time, lift the knees, roll over the toes, downward facing. Lift the toes, lift the tops of the feet towards the shins. Keep a sense of that as you push off the hands and walk all the way back. Bending in through the knees, soft through the head there. As you feel ready, slowly curl the tailbone down to come all the way on up to stand. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Taking the hands down, even to the pelvis to help assist us. We want the pelvis to stay where it is as we lift the right heel up. So we don't want the pelvis to sass. And then the right heel down and the left heel up. And so imagine you're just kind of walking out in place here, one heel at a time, but the pelvis stays the same. So you're learning, your hips are learning how to be good supporters of forward-backward movement here. Really good supporters of forward-backward movement. Okay, you can keep doing this. If you feel like you can load your feet a little bit more, heel bops up and down, getting right up over the big toe, really using those calf muscles, squeezing them. We need strong, powerful feet. That's the first thing that needs to go right if we want our knees and hips and spine and everything else to feel better. We have to get our feet right as we can. Let's say that. Okay. Let's see from here if we can come up and walk. And back. And we're just really going to keeping the heel up right over the big toe. And we want to just do this until we feel a little bit of fatigue in the feet. But now you could do this, or you could add a little cardiovascular by skipping. So you're pushing off of the heel bop, and you're moving at the hip. And we're breathing in and out through the nose, nice and low. And you're just letting this get your heart rate up a little bit, but it's going very moderately, so it's not freaking you out or getting you out of breath. Let's go forward and backward one more time. Moving from the hip, not the spine. So coming up, feel yourself here. Breathe. As we feel ready, reaching the arms all the way on up, hinging forward. Taking the hands down, stepping the feet back, plank. Can you find plank? Then tap the knees down, bring the knees forward a little bit. One more time, squeeze the elbows, wrap them down, lower the forearms, come on up. Couple more times like this. Get your breathing more regular. Get your arm muscles turned on. Now you can keep working this. If you're ready to work another dolphin, elbows down, knees tip up. Breathing. Weight shifting forward, back. If you can manage that. Tapping the knees down, coming up to the hands. As we feel ready, lifting up off the knees, downward facing dog. So we can step or we can lightly hop the feet forward. That's up to you, whatever feels right. Bend the knees, slowly come all the way on up. Reach the arms. Soften the hands. Steady the breath, nice and low into the belly. Get it out of the chest if it's in the chest. Feel your heartbeat. Okay, let's move into our standing series. Keep the right foot where it is, step the left foot back, high lunge. Back heel nice and lifted, pelvis evenly set. Take a few moments, really get yourself lifted with the arms down. We'll add a little bit of sway here with the arms and the torso. Left to right, staying nice and lifted, feeling how this changes things for the legs. Now your legs need to be stronger for you. Give them the support of your breath and your attention. Don't grate your jaw on them or your tongue or your forehead. So you're letting your legs have this experience and you're being nice about it inside. As we feel ready from here, we'll open to Warrior Two to the right. So take your time to open the left toes to the long edge, right toes to the front. Make sure you set your feet, knees, and hips in a way that feels good for you. And to do this, let's go into the front knee and push and go into the back knee. And trade left to right. So the legs can figure out how to be good legs and feet for you. Somewhere along this line, you should feel something that feels more comfortable or less comfortable. And work in the spaces where you feel space in your joints, where you feel that sense of comfort of like, it's intense, but I can be here. And that's where you settle for warrior two. And if you wanted to stretch the arms and open through the chest, but really open the back as well. Okay. From here, we're going to press down. We're going to straighten both legs and reach both arms up to the sky. Lengthen both sides of your body evenly. And then come back down, warrior two. Doing this a couple of times. If you like to merge breath and movement together, you can do that. And if you're ready for a little fancy footwork, when you come down, lift your heel, but come down into the knee. And then as you come up, press your heel down, lift your toes. Coming down, really take the knee forward, but lift the heel. Coming up, lift the toes. One more time. As we feel ready, come on down here. Warrior two. We're gonna, sorry, my baby, heels in, toes out, horse pose. So settle evenly here. And if this is time for you to take a break and grab a sip of water, please do that. I like this. This feels like a little break for me, a little bouncy in the hips. Getting the feet to set well. Thanks, I'm okay. All the way up into the pelvis. Okay, from here, let's take cactus arms. We really want to feel knit in on the front of the body. So knit your front ribs toward each other, towards the spine, your navel towards the spine. And now keep a sense of that as you start to rotate through the ribs, left and right. So you're using your lower side waist muscles, the muscles on your torso between your pelvis and your ribs on the side. I just saw a squirrel in the driveway. Squirrels are our arch nemesis. Okay, from here, let's go ahead, come back through center, hands onto the pelvis, and we're gonna see if we can hinge forward. So we're not moving the spine. I mean, we are through space, but it stays the same shape as you come back up. So imagine the shape of the spine stays the same, but you are getting into the hip crease. You can have your hands here and have them kind of dig into that hip crease as you hinge forward. So you really get some space in the hip. So now hold the hinge and really push your fingers into that hip crease and push it back and get really long out through the spine with an open chest. And see if you can take your hands down to something. Maybe it's to the floor, maybe it's in front of you to a piece of furniture there. And if it feels good for you to twist here, open one side up. Let's say the right arm lifting, spinning that torso around an axis. As we feel ready, taking that hand down and walking forward over that front leg. So bend into the front leg, get some space between the front and back leg. Hands are still on the floor, or again, up onto something higher. Do not feel afraid to lift up onto something higher. And then from here, squeezing into the pelvis, taking the left hand down as we reach the right arm up. So really rooting the legs into the hips and then rotating around like you're corkscrewing. Getting a little bit of length through the head as well. As we feel ready, taking that hand down, taking the left knee down, and we're gonna step the right foot back so we're in modified side plank. So keep your left knee where it is, step your right foot back, and then open the right arm to the sky. If you need to kickstand this left knee out a little bit more, totally fine. We want to open through the chest here, get really strong on that left shoulder, and then see if you can hold the pose with your left shoulder and left butt as you lift the right leg up off the ground. As we feel ready from here, taking that hand down, knee down to the floor, lowering the elbows one more time, hands wide, lift up off the knees, dolphin. And in this dolphin, you can hold or you can lift the left foot up off the ground and stretch the foot back. So one-legged dolphin. Loading that right leg similar to that standing split earlier. Now shift up onto the tippy toes of the right foot and weight shift forward over the elbows. And then heel down, weight shift back. And lift up onto the tippy toes Weight shift forward and back. Remember, you can always just hold dolphin as well. As you feel ready, we'll come down, take a little bit of a break. So whatever a break looks like to you, that could be a vinyasa sequence, a downward dog, a child's pose. Let's meet in a downward facing dog. Easy breathing. In this downward facing dog, let's turbocharge it. So let's act like we're gonna lower those elbows down like we did in the dolphin. But when you do that, really lift your chest. So you're not sinking the chest here. You feel how that turns on your arms. Go ahead, straighten the arms, step or hop the feet all the way up to the mat, to the front. As you feel ready from here, bend the knees, scoop the tailbone down as you roll all the way on up. Reach the arms, soften the hands down. Step the right foot back. High lunge on the left side. Take a few moments to get yourself set up well here. Pelvis integrated, arms down. When you're ready to add a little swing, add a swing. As we feel ready from here, find warrior two. Open the right toes to the long edge, the left toes to the short. Come on down, and before you set up the upper body, set up the lower half. So trade back and forth. And see if you can get your pelvis to be evenly set here the whole time. So what's going on between here and here doesn't change. When you're ready, find a position that you like to settle into anywhere along that spectrum. And then if you like to open the arms, you can open the arms warrior two. Really get that sense of openness through the chest, but containment of the torso there. And as you feel ready, press down, straighten both legs. They're both working for you as you reach the arms all the way up. And then as you feel ready, coming all the way back down, warrior two. And then press through that front foot. Both legs work evenly for you as you come up. And this time as you come down, if you want to add a little fancy footwork, the heel goes up as the knee goes forward. And then pressing down, coming all the way up. Let's take this 2 more times. As we feel ready from here, taking the hands down, turning all 10 toes to face one direction, and then finding horse, heels in, toes out. If you wanted to step together and then come apart again, you definitely can. So finding a position in horse that you feel good in your torso. Once you feel that, cactus the arms. From here, turning like a shish kebab around the lower part of the spine and the pelvis. And from here, hands down onto the hips. Imagine you're holding your whole spine in this shape as you hinge forward, really using the hands to remind the pelvis, like, yeah, baby, I want you to hinge as you come up and down. So really try to hold that shape in the spine, nice open chest, chin in neutral. And then see if you can hold that position, really work it with the legs here. Is it possible for you to take the hands down but keep the spine nice and long? And if that's possible, then I think this time turning open to the left. Rotating around that shish kebab, work the legs evenly. Lots of space in the low back, so the buttocks pull away from the low back. As you feel ready, left hand down, turning yourself to face over that front leg as you find a lunge with the back knee up. And again, use something, prop your hands up if that feels better. Because here we want to get the sense that the legs are holding into the pelvis, but the spine is lengthening out. And then from here, opening to a twist if that feels good. Lengthening along that long axis. Still using the legs to work in and breathing the whole time. We'll take that left hand down. We'll take the right knee down to the floor, and the right hand will move back towards it just a little bit. We'll step the left foot back so we're in modified side plank with the left toes facing the long edge of the mat. We can take the left arm up. So feel yourself steady on all sides of your body. If it feels okay for you to lift the left leg, do that by working in the right butt and shoulder and arm. As we feel ready, take that foot down, turn back down towards to face the floor. We're in tabletop position. One more dolphin as the elbows layer down, hands wide or clasped as we lift up. And from here, you can decide if you like to stay here or if you like to lift the right foot. If you like that, you can start weight shifting over the left toes forward and back, really trying to work the whole torso into the shoulder blades. Take a break whenever you like. And as we feel ready, we'll all take a break, tapping the knees down. And anything you like that feels good. When you're ready, let's push back and up to our downward facing dog. Let's walk ourselves back about halfway here, enough so that we can get the weight into the feet, but the arms are long and they're stretching the spine with them. So the floor does not have to be your end game. Your end game could be your blocks or your furniture again. Basically, whenever hands are reaching for something, if the floor does not seem like the right thing, find something else for them to reach toward. Bend your knees and really get your belly and thigh close together so you're long on all sides of your torso. And if it feels okay for you to unweight your hands completely, take them behind your calves, take them back there. Press your calves forward as you press your feet down, your heels down, and you lift your pelvis towards the sky to straighten your legs, straighten in air quotes. And then bend the knees and push your heels down as you lift your sitting bones high. And just try to keep yourself, Ollie's doing some halfway lifts over there. So if that feels good for you, that's good. But I'm trying to keep the torso really close to the legs. So whatever feels good for you. From here, let's take the hands down. Knees can tap down towards the floor. Just feel your little hamstrings there. Come around. When you come around wherever you want to sit for a moment, just for a moment, soles of the feet together, knees wide for a little Baddha Konasana. And again, we want to learn how to be good partners to ourselves here since our intention is non-harming. So if you wanted to lean back first and move your pelvis, rock it forward and backward, and see if you get stuck any place. If you get stuck someplace, it's just showing you a limitation. And limitations can be worked on. We can reprogram them. But we need to understand them, and we need to understand what programming language to use. So the goal of a forward fold is to get your pelvis to fold forward. So now press your low back forward, because it's going to feel like the front of your belly is kind of poofing forward. And do that as much as you can. See if you can do that as so much that you feel something happen in the hip crease there. And now you decide if this is intense, then stay here. If you can walk yourself forward and preserve the forward motion of the pelvis, begin to walk yourself forward and really get it right into that hip crease. Like the pelvis is rotating and hinging upright over the head of the thigh bone here as you lift up and you just feel like, oh, what is possible here? Try to breathe nice and low and try to use the muscles of your legs to widen the outer knees down to the floor. So try to use the muscles of the legs to widen the outer knees down to the floor. And then from here, release, take the legs in, come on down to your back. If there is going to be something else for you to feel good and come to a resting position, then spend a few moments moving in any ways that feel good. For anybody who is ready for Shavasana, you can find a comfortable place to lay down. That could be on or off your yoga mat. And hopefully we have just practiced an hour of breathing well, paying attention well, perhaps even meditating a little bit. And finally, directing all of our attention towards an intention of non-harming. And it'll take a while for us to figure out exactly what that means. But today we practiced understanding that within the context of movement. How do I read my body's signals and provide for my body's needs? If my body parts were all members of my team and they were working for me and I was their boss, their manager, what would they think of me? Would they be like, yeah, this is the best manager ever? And as we lay here nice and quietly, we give ourselves the opportunity to let this permeate so that it's usable for us later. If you would like to end your practice with a little bit of silent sitting, and perhaps start to move around in any way that feels good to you. We can prepare to sit silently for a couple more moments. After Shavasana. We naturally become non-harming when we see things clearly. Our harming tendencies, whether they are conscious or not conscious, meaning whether we intend to be violent with our words or our actions, all of that comes from us not seeing something clearly. We have failed to pay attention to some aspect of a situation, or we have accepted a more superficial level of understanding that doesn't take into consideration all of the complexities that make a system what it is. And so in order for us to become more non-harming naturally, it's the process of us stepping back and saying, whoa, maybe life, maybe maybe you are not what I think when what I've thought this has all been. Maybe I can step back and I can be open to the possibility of things being different than the way I think they are. And oftentimes when we step ourselves back, we're able to see things more clearly. Whatever decision or action we make from then on has that flavor of non-harming with it. And non-harming just means that it is good for you and it's good for the other people around you. It's good for as many things as possible. It's fair. Great job in today's practice. I will see you here. We have new classes every Sunday. Thank you, Ollie, for joining. And if you are new around here, my name's Brenton. This is Ollie. We run yoga in your living room, and we'd love to see you online. So you're here, you're on our YouTube channel, and make sure you're subscribed to get notified when we have new videos. But also make sure you practice with us on our website. That's yogainyourlivingroom.com. And on the website, we have a full donation-based library. You don't need to give us your credit card or any information to practice, just start practicing. But the classes are all broken down into different collections that are intended to help us with certain things. So that's a very useful way to guide your home yoga practice and make sure that you are getting the most out of it. And if you are just like, whoa, I love what we just did, you want more of this in your life, then on our website, we have something called our weekly letter. And that is totally free. We send it to you every Sunday. And it has some movement, insights, and stories, along with the link to whatever new class that we're posting for the week, and any upcoming event details or launch details or things like that. So that's one of the best ways to make sure you're connected with us. Also over on social media, Instagram and Facebook. So thank you so much for your time. And as I mentioned, this is donation-based, so on our website, if you want to give us a donation, you can do it there. That would totally make our day. And we'll see you here next time. Bye.